sunny Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada today. Mr. Charles, did you pay your Skype bill this week?
Yeah, well, actually, you would. Yeah, you know what? A lot has been talked about that show, believe it or not. The thing was, we were getting rid of reptilians. Every single show, before and after that show, had not one glitch. Only that show. For some reason, in fact, as a matter of fact, not just me, but Australia. So it wasn't even anything that had to do with the internet or anything else. It was something else going on there.
When we do work at those levels, sometimes it does affect the broadcast. At my office, when we're doing the show right now live, I've got crystals all around me. I've got an organite plate under the microphone. I've got all kinds of things going on to try and keep the line clear. These little son of a guns have a way of getting in. They know their way around the internet because they developed it, first of all. And well, they know how it works.
I'll tell you, I won't use any names or anything else, but you had two psychics and an astronomer.
Astronomer?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I mean, these people were just, I mean, they were just totally blown away in that. They said this man did something that, you know, we wish we could do. I mean, you really rattled some cages.
That's what I do for a living. I rattle cages.
No, my hat's off to the whole thing. I mean, I was blown away that day. It was like, what? I mean, you know, really serious. I mean, we got more powerful coming in here than most radio stations for transmitting. Skype is a little flaky all the time, and we know that. But I mean, you know, it didn't happen at all. It was absolutely perfect before and after. It was just that show. And you know what? We even went over it, and some of the background, you know, you get like a background song, you know, yes, like sound in it, and there was actually a distortion in it that are not heard in any other show. There was something else in there.
Well, I'll take the full blame for this show. How about that?
Hey, I'll give you one for that. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, you know, seriously. I mean, when you say that you're going to long distance heal, I mean, it's not something to mess with. I mean, this is real. I mean, real.
100% real. Oh yes.
And I was proud to have you on the show. I mean, you know, I said to my guys in well, we have people that listen to us out in California. I said to them, I said, you know, really, my hat's off to the man.
And here we are again. We're going to try it one more time and see if we can get a full
go get
show
him.
out of it.
Go get him. Hey, listen, I got stuff on here. It shouldn't happen this time.
Tonight is going to be a healing show. So what's been happening lately? There's so much that goes on in this office that I get downloaded, let's say, of new things to do and new ways to do it. One of the latest things, now I've always been looking for ways to pull the negative energies, the dark demonic energies out of people, and everybody's got it. It's just a matter of what is it doing at a certain level within your body to cause a problem. And of course, there's Lucifer, there's Satan, there's thing. Lucifer is completely different. Now, if you look into the Bible, again, I'm not a Bible thumper, but if you look into the Old Testament, God picked an angel named Ha-Satan to come down to earth and give us challenges. I think I mentioned this last time around. By finding challenges upon us placed by Ha-Satan, it helps to get deeper into the body to find out what's going on. Now, another thing I found is that in the Bible, Satan is called the adversary. Google the word adversary and you'll get a definition of it. It'll say a foe, someone who confronts you, someone you do battle with. It'll also say the devil/Satan. When you're working in this capacity to remove these types of energies out of people, sometimes you do have to be specific with the words you use, when you use them, how you use them. It's very intricate. Instead of trying to remove Satan, if you intend to remove the adversary or identify the adversary, that seems to make things a lot easier to move out of somebody's body. So where it used to be a struggle to, let's say if we found Satan, to move him out, it would cause some ruckus. If you identify it as the adversary, it does make that much big of a difference. And that goes with basically almost anything that you're working with energy. If you identify it properly, things tend to go a lot smoother. Now, another thing that I discovered today, and this is something I've been working with for quite a while, and that is the occult ritual or the sacrifice. So here's the scenario. And of course, when you're working in my office, when you're doing this work, you better be open-minded. You better be open to everything and anything that's a possibility. Otherwise, you're going to miss something. So what I have discovered, and I just got this morning, the instructions on how to stop a ritual and a sacrifice from happening. Let's have the scenario going where we have a quantum energy body, okay, our etheric body. An aspect or a piece of that body can be taken, and rituals and sacrifices can be performed on it. So let's try and envision this, because as humans, we need to envision it to try and understand it. Let's go back to the Spanish Inquisition, where they had all these torture devices to try and get people to confess. So they've got a piece of your etheric body, of your energy, in one of these torture devices. So through quantum entanglement, your energy is in one area, something is happening, you're going to feel the effects in this reality body. So if they got you in the rack and they're stretching you, you're going to have sore shoulders, sore knees, sore hips, sore back. And if your problem is one of those problems that just doesn't want to go away, no matter what you do, you get a little bit of relief, it always comes back. No doctors can find it. There's no rhyme or reason for it. This is one of the very big possibilities of what it can be. Write this down. I'm going to give it to you right now. So what you have to do in order to stop a ritual from happening, first of all, you have to identify that there is a sacrifice going on. So the first thing you would do is you would take the occult ritual and then say the word false. Now, I'm going to break off a second here. A lot of people have heard me use the word true. The name of my course is True Quantum Healing. When you say the word true after an area in your body, let's say the soul, if you say soul true, working with energy, what that does is it takes the soul out of this time matrix into source, love, and light, and then it begins to change the soul back to its normal makeup, its normal position, its normal way of working. It returns the soul back to its source self. And that goes for any part of your body. So if your liver is very damaged from years of drinking or eating crazy, stupid food, once you've cleared it out, if you keep on saying the intent, liver true, the liver will start to come back to normal function. So if you use the word false, where I used to use the word neutralize and eliminate, now I use the word false, and that will just cancel things out. Instead of working with it, it just cancels it out. So we say the words occult rituals false, sacrifices false, and then we say, this is an important one, Moloch false, and sent to ether. Moloch is the demon of sacrifice. And if you're an Illuminati member, shame on you, number one. Number two, if you're an Illuminati member and you're doing these sacrifices, you are sacrificing the soul or the body of this person to Moloch. Okay, he loves to eat souls. He's voracious that way. Then removing the voodoo, so you say voodoo false, and then you go after the Illuminati and say Illuminati false. So those 5 steps would very easily stop the ritual from happening. So if you're a light worker, if you're an energy worker, you're listening to this, give it a try. I've been using it all day today. And generally what it does is it really opens the door. It helps you to get in deeper into the client so that you can really find what's going on. You can get right down to the deep, dark level. I was on a radio show, the Amash Files, out of the UK. It was a 2-hour video show, and we did about 4 clearings on people, and we got some pretty quick results with it. But other than that, just the way things are going right now in this office, we can certainly tell that the whole process of ascension, the age of Aquarius is coming pretty darn quick. I'm going to put my neck out there and say it's coming pretty darn quick. I know there's a lot of people talking about the whole concept of consciousness change. We really need to concentrate on keeping our light to ourselves and keeping our light bright and just keeping love flowing and not wait for something to come do it for us. One of the concepts I've come up with the whole 5th dimension thing is people are sitting around waiting for a big light switch to be flicked. The concept that I've come up with is that I think it's there waiting for us, but we have to go and get it. So what that means is that we need to do the work. We need to do the clearings. We need to make the intents. We need to get ourselves there. Because we've all basically gone through the 5D window. If you're an awakened person, we've all basically gone through that portal, which means we're guaranteed to go into this consciousness. But I think we have to work at it to really get to it. Nothing's just going to come that easy. I mean, that's just a thought that I had the other day, and I ran it by a few people, and they seemed to agree. That kind of resonated with them. I mean, let's look at it this way. The work that I'm doing, it wasn't just given to me. It wasn't just, okay, Chris, you have this gift. Here it all is. No. I've put hours, days, weeks, months, years into developing this whole way of working with energy in order to get where I am right now. And I still have a long way to go. And every day is asking the questions. How do I help these people with very chronic diseases? How do I get them back to where they were before they had these diseases? And that seems to be the big sticking point. I am making some strides. There are things that are happening. It's happening at a slower pace than I'd like to see it. Of course, I'd like to see spontaneous instant healing, and it does happen in certain instances, but somebody with severe cerebral palsy or MS is going to have to wait a little longer. But it is coming. It is happening. But I've been working towards this, and it is gratifying. It's extremely gratifying, but frustrating at the same time, because when I'm working with somebody and you get no results, to me, I feel like I'm doing this person a dishonesty by taking some of their money and nothing happening. Nothing's going to happen if you don't try. So that's where things have been happening in this office, Bob.
I got a question for you though, because these are things that are coming through either my text, or the other outside stuff that we have here. People are asking about what is your opinion about Wave X?
Waves are coming in every day. From a standpoint of somebody who knows about these things, the tool maker I have, and I did speak with him about it. Now, this guy, as I've explained before, is as connected as anybody in a lot of different ways with what's happening in the universe and what's happening, because his job is a grid engineer, an earth grid engineer. So he sits in a bathtub for 2-3 hours a day, running current into the earth grid to clear it out and prepare it. And he explained to me it's like sitting in a bathtub full of water with your finger in a light socket for 3 hours. That's how much energy he's running. And he's only about 98 pounds soaking wet. And there's a few times he's almost died doing it. Now, yeah, so I asked him about it. He said, Chris, the end of September is nothing compared to what's coming. So the whole Wave X at the end of September, I know that there's a few people, but I know Simon Parks is talking about it a lot. Simon Parks is very respected. I respect him myself. You have to kind of think where they're getting their information from. I know when I get information, sometimes it's bogus information. They might be considering a different type of energy than people think it is. So the Wave X could just be a different form. Now, the whole time that this is going to happen is the last cycle of a blood red moon, which is an eclipse.
Right.
Whenever there's an eclipse, a blood red moon, a supermoon, all these things together culminate and create a specific type of energy to come in and do a clearing on the planet. The old saying, the planets need to be in alignment for something to happen. Well, that's generally what it is. There's planetary alignments, there's eclipses, there's different things that have to happen in order for an energy to come in and do what it does. Wave X, I mean, you can call it anything you want, but don't be expecting for the big light switch to be flicked and all of a sudden, there's no more war and there's no more famine. It's not quite like that. It's just going to be a shift of consciousness. More people may awaken. Now, in the last 3 days, I've been sitting at my desk here. Yesterday morning, I was working with a client in the office. All of a sudden, I got what we call a shift. And it feels like your body is moving through time.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I just looked at her and said, whoa, did I just get a big shift? She says, I think I saw you move. So the shifts are happening. Every day there is an energy shift, and they're getting stronger, and there's more and more every day and every week. Wave X, if you want to put hype to it and buy into it, something's going to happen. Don't expect the world to change right away.
No, it's not doom and gloom.
No,
by no mean. But the actual, what they say between, what they have going on around the universe and science, in a sense, they do have a more or less of a definition. It says the Earth is moving into a region of the galaxy that is leading to increasing cosmic energies impacting our sun and altering human DNA. It is predicted that this will lead to many changes in human society, including major disclosures of advanced technologies, secret space programs, and extraterrestrial life. And what you had said before, this one I just got through on my cell phone, believe it or not, it said that, let me see now, into the late September will cause circa 28 September, what is described as a frequency shift in consciousness.
Nobody is really privileged to know exactly what's going to happen. I mean, where is this information coming from? You have to consider that. People are channeling this, and then people are interpreting it. So let me explain how the whole channeling works. We get worded messages. It's almost like a riddle. The Bible is a big riddle. You got to know how to read into it. Same with these channelings and these messages is that you have to know how to decipher. What are they trying to say through this message? It's not just black and white. It's multicolored and it's multidimensional. So it can mean many different things. I'm always very leery when I do read something. Now, I'm reading something right now on Facebook. It says here, General Emil Stranu confirms reptilian ETs. And this is a general in the Romanian army. He's retired, and he's come forward and he's confirming reptilian ETs. And there's a big write-up about it, about how he's interacted with them. And I mean, here's a general coming forward and saying, hey, ETs exist, reptilians exist. Everybody's looking at it and going, yeah, I don't think so.
Or, yes, we knew that.
Yeah. Now, Paul Hellyer, who was a defense minister of Canada for a number of years.
Right.
He sat in front of a panel of people, and they recorded it. It's on YouTube, and he said, the extraterrestrials exist. Here is rock solid proof right here. You think anybody took him seriously? And I mean, it's good to hear somebody coming forward like that, trying to make a statement, but it is such an incredible big statement. We all know they're here. I know they're here. I mean, okay, they're here, but until the big mothership hovers over the planet and the blinking light says open and they let people in to come and visit, nobody's going to believe it. Yeah, we've seen videos. Everybody's seen pictures on YouTube. You click on any UFO video on YouTube and there's millions of hits.
Well, here's one I bet a lot of people don't know. This came through channelers that were on the show recently. There is no parking space left around this planet for another spaceship. It blew me out of my chair. I said, say what? And these are entities that are coming in. There is not a spot left. That's how many ships are up there. However, they're vibrating at a different frequency than we are. So of course we can't see them. And of course you can shoot, because I had questions coming on the chat box all over the place that night. They said, well, how come we can shoot rockets up in the air and fly planes in the air? Well, it's easy. They're not vibrating at their frequency either, so they can go right through them.
Yeah, they exist, but they don't exist.
Right.
Some
different
people
dimension.
can't see them. Some people's vision can change that vibration and harmonize with the vibration of these things so they can see them.
Right.
And there's a reason why they need to see them.
Mm-hmm. Well, then again, there's got to be a reason some way down the line that they can lower their frequency so that we can see them.
What may happen is that when our vibration goes up into this consciousness, we may be able to see them. Our quantum body, our light body, is already in the fifth dimension consciousness. Our souls can already be in there, but our 3D physical knock on your head body is still in this third dimension realm. So what's going to happen is our third dimension body and our light body is going to merge together to create this consciousness. That's the message I've been getting. That's how it's going to happen. I think that once it does happen, will be able to vibrate at that level, to see them, to know that they're there, to see behind a cloud and know it's not a cloud. That might start to happen with people. Right now, everything is speculation, and us as humans, our minds are going crazy trying to figure what's going to happen, how it's going to work. And all I know is that things are just going to get better, and they've been getting better and better for me every day, and I can see it in front of me, that how things are going. And everybody says, well, when's it going to get better for me? I says, just be patient, whine about it, and it's going to show up. It's something you have to work for, I think.
There are so many things that are going on right now. I'll give you another little bit here. There are scientific experiments going on right now with psychics, of course, that wear this machine, and they can literally operate computers, mouses, things like that with their minds. We actually have, all of us, not just psychics, but all of us have the real absolute ability to talk to someone without moving our lips, or to be able to see into the future or the past without moving out of our chair. We have this. It's just, it has to be turned on. There's something in the, they call the parts of the DNA as junk DNA. But they never really came out and defined what junk DNA is. I think it's just not activated DNA chain links.
It's just like extra memory space on your hard drive of your computers. We can put more programs into it. Think of it as a software upgrade for your computer.
Bingo.
That's basically it. And say we only use 10% of our brain.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of it will be activated when all this consciousness. I mean, it's there for a reason. All this space, it's not being used in our brain, and DNA and whatever else that we don't even know about is empty, because we're going to need it when all of this kicks in, when it all happens. That's the take I get. Now, I have seen people. I've had a few clients. One came in and said, Chris, I had a seizure, and there's no reason for me to have a seizure. They did a CAT scan. They did everything, and there's no reason I should have had a seizure. And this person had never done any energy work, but his wife had come to see me a few times. So they came in and, just to check things out. And my charts told me that this person's soul got unplugged from the dark source, plugged in to the light source. And it created a wave of energy going through him, and it caused a bit of a seizure. I am seeing this forefront. People are going through different changes. You might be going through, flu-like symptoms or a lot of pain and discomfort. Maybe some anxieties are happening because the energies are changing. And when the energies change and they do go up in our bodies, it does shake out a lot of the crap that is within us. A lot of the dark stuff, the demonic stuff that's been there for many, many years is being vibrated out. And that in itself, that will cause dizzy spell and nausea, and for you to feel very tired right away. So I'm seeing it forefront. It is happening. It is happening on different levels with different people for different reasons. How do you prepare for it? Just know that if you start to go through something like that, it's not such a bad thing.
Are you getting the same thing that we're getting in here? People missing 20 minutes? Or,
I am hearing a lot of that, where people wake up and look at their clock and go, hey, wait a minute, it's yesterday morning or something. I am seeing a lot of that. That's called a time interruption. And it can be when, if your energy goes somewhere, it may be an abduction scenario, or you astral travel at a very dense level, where a lot of you astral travels, and you come back not at the right time. The time difference it'll be different. And that happened to me once. I was on my way to the office, driving in wonderful Winnipeg. And all of a sudden, I looked out my window. I was like, where the heck am I? I had to pull off the road and get my bearings straight, because for a split second, I was driving. All of a sudden, I'm looking to go, I don't know where I am. I had to pull over, and that was the time interruption. I went out of my body for a certain amount of time. Could have been hundreds of years, could have been a second. I don't know. It doesn't matter. And then I came back right at the exact same time, driving my truck, thinking I better pull over because I don't know what the heck is going on here. So I am seeing it. It is happening. I do have a wonderful client in Croatia who's experiencing this type of thing, and we're working with that, trying to figure it out. But I am seeing it. People are reporting it. And I'm working with someone right now who is experiencing a lot of puncture marks on her body, a lot of surgical scars when she hasn't even gone to the hospital. So this person is getting, getting abused, let's say, by ET. And we're working with it, trying to figure it all out. And pretty soon these ET are going to have nothing to play with anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that everybody is sending in, or it's already out there, that send in your information and this is only based on all the different places around the world that sent this information about this. I'll give you one real quick. Someone gets up in the morning, goes down a block, walks her dog, and it's not the same block. All of a sudden, the block is different. The houses are the same, but look different.
Yeah.
And then goes home, and the next day walks down the same street, and it's back to where it was, or where it was supposed to be. So these kind of things that are going on all over the place, plus even our computers, believe it or not. Computers will be working, and then they'll die. I mean, just die. Like nothing works. No program works. And then all of a sudden, maybe 2-3 hours later, bam, like nothing happened. So the internet is very, very, very sensitive when it comes to this stuff coming through.
Well, the ET did develop the internet. They gave us technology in trade for something else, and of course that happened back in the Roswell days, before there was any internet. I think the Germans got mind control power, and the Americans got technology. Okay, so if you look at the internet, if you look at all these different cell phone technologies and computer disks and DVDs and the whole bit, if you look at how fast it developed from its inception, it's really mind-boggling.
It was overnight.
It's like overnight. All of a sudden, it went from phones the size of your house to something you can put in your ear and wear on your wrist, just like Dick Tracy. It's come by so quick, relatively. I know once the technology is there, you can develop it a lot quicker, but really think that the whole internet itself was probably given to us as a trick so that these ETs can use it to infiltrate, send frequencies through it. Let me give you an example. My wife pulls up this video on her iPhone, and what it is, it's nursery rhymes. So my kids are 4 years old and my daughter is 19 months. So she's playing this program from YouTube, and they're singing nursery rhymes. Do you know the Muffin Man and all these other nursery rhymes. And here's somebody dressed up as Spider-Man doing interpretive dance to them. The freakiest thing you ever seen in your
weird.
Life, relatively. And I'm looking at this thing going, that's just stupid. And my kids are watching this, and all of a sudden my wife took it away. They both freaked out.
Yeah, there was something in the picture.
There's something going on, and I do know this. I mean, I've had guests on my show that talk about the whole programming within the subliminal messaging and the TV vibration rates and I looked at it, I just got this feeling through my body that there's something demonic going on with this video. I says, you take that off your phone right now, because the kids freaked. And normally they're like, okay, yeah, mommy took it away, no big deal. But they both flipped. There is something going on with video. There is something going on with audio. There's something going on with TV shows. It just has to be at certain level. And I've seen different videos where all of a sudden on a message service, there's a picture of a gray alien looking in on you in a split screen, and for a split second. I've seen a lot of that. So there is a lot of infiltration through the video. Now, what I do with my computer is I've got orgonite all over the place, and I've got my neutralization ring in front of my CPU, and I've got all this stuff around me that blocks a lot of this stuff from happening. Anybody can do this. Piece of shungite or a piece of orgonite will sure enough do it. But you really have to be aware of what you're watching and what you're researching on this computer, because you can get drawn right into the whole thing. It's energy. It's different realms. It's all around us. And it's happening at the speed of us.
Or faster. Or way faster. The other thing that I'm getting up from Australia, by the way, or New Zealand, is that there's also a mass people with lapse of memory.
This is all abduction. This is all time interruption. That's what's going on with the world right now. I think there's an alarming higher rate of it because of what's going to be happening. So they want to get their job done. They want to get as much information as they can from our DNA. And I read something that somebody made the assumption that, or had the thought that we are 12 different species of aliens balled up into one to create a human. What would happen? I mean, right. Are we a big experiment? Yeah, probably. Okay, and that's cool.
Well, what about the all these old cavemen? I mean, were they tryouts that didn't work? I mean, seriously, look at them.
One of the scenarios is I
Cro-Magnon
men. The reptilians wanted a human to mine gold for them.
Yep.
But the cavemen couldn't do it, so they scrapped that idea and developed a higher mentality, better working human to create machinery to mine the gold. I don't know. These are all just scenarios that we throw around as humans. We need to try and make hide in our hair or something. And we're the sixth seeding of humanity on this planet. There's been the Lomarians, the Sumerians, the Nephilim. We've all been here. The Mayans, the Egyptians. Where did they all go? They rose past this frequency, and and now they're somewhere else in a better life off of this stinking little planet.
Yeah, the funniest story was one of them that was found in some old text in that somewhere that points at actually the people who were the real laborers that were building the pyramid were clones.
Slaves.
I was like, whoa. I mean, they didn't talk, didn't do anything. They just ate and worked. That's it. When they died off next.
Programmed to just do one thing or two things, and that was it.
Exactly. And it's funny about it because the first ones to stand on, nope, these weren't aliens or anything. No, yeah, like they had the technology to do that way back then. Uh-huh.
Well, you look at all of these ancient buildings they're finding, and stones that are so heavy that no machinery we have could even lift one. How did these things get cut? How did they get here? And this is done by other civilizations that had the technology. No other way around it. They left it behind. They went to another planet. They ascended up. But they left it all behind. It's all relic of stuff. The pyramids, the great pyramids, all the pyramids on the planet that they're finding used to be an energy source. It no longer is. It's just a relic. It's not a tomb for King Tutankhamun. It's an old energy source, an old energy generator, a Tesla coil, if you will, of sorts. Mm-hmm. So that's all it is. It's just a relic. It doesn't mean anything anymore. It doesn't mean we're going to dig it up and find something underneath it. There's nothing there anymore. It's like a burned out old car. There's nothing left of it.
They had another thing in that I read too the other day about the pyramids. The pyramids, of course, they've been picked, like they've been through the years and that wore out, picked out by everybody. The outside of them was limestone, and it was white, and it was shiny. That's what the original mm-hmm. pyramids look like. And on top, they have a capstone, which of course somebody stole at one time or another. But that was on top, and on top of the stone was a sphere. Now, nobody knew this. This is a new thing that comes out. Sometimes they learn how to how to use these words and actually understand what they mean. But there was like a sphere on top of it that was perfect, and they called it the all-seeing eye. Ah. That's not exactly the way it comes out in the words. It comes out a little bit different now, but they explain it that this is how they believe it means.
The sphere in sacred geometry is a very specific geometry, and I'm holding a shungite sphere in my hand right now. The sphere is all-encompassing. It goes in all directions. It's a very useful tool for healing, for doing specific things. So when you use a sphere as compared to a cube, the cube, again, is very, very powerful in its own right. If you place something within the cube, if you intend something in a cube, you're basically keeping it out of harm's way and out of this time matrix. Time does not exist within a cube, a perfect cube. So you can work on something without it aging or moving or changing at all. But the sphere itself, has a lot of specific properties to it. And I can see a sphere being on top of the pyramid. It was a gold capstone that was on the pyramid, and underneath the pyramids, water or streams or rivers of water underground creates an electrical force. It creates a charge where their power would come from, and then they would harness it. And there's hieroglyphics. An Egyptian is holding what would look like a big light bulb, if you will. So they needed energy and power from something to run their houses and their whatever, you guess. So that's where they got it from. It was like a big Tesla coil.
Yep, they had electric. And I bet they didn't get a bill. But on the other hand, though, look, there's so much stuff in it. Tesla had all kinds of the things in that he had made. Of course, somewhere along this timeline of ours, the government swept it underneath the carpet and said, we ain't going to tell anybody because we don't want anybody to get nothing for nothing.
Well, what it was, Tesla had this technology, and he went to J.P. Morgan to get the funding for it, and J.P. Morgan said, we can't make money off of that. Scrap it all. So there was no money for him to produce this to make it work. J.P. Morgan squashed it all. That's the story that I read. I'm a part of a group that does a lot of research into Nikola Tesla.
You know, it's so funny, too, and when you think about it, a free energy, all right, the machine that you could use to power your house, okay, which would power your house forever, as long as it didn't fall into a hole and get crushed. I think it costs somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000 to buy one, and this thing literally with like nothing. You don't have to put no gas in it. There's no fumes. There's no environmental problems or anything else in that. This thing just spins and makes energy.
There's one called the Bedini motor. The other one is a Czechoslovakian make, I think. But I've done a lot of research, and they've got units that'll power a whole office building just by spinning it. And it's all magnets. And I've done it. I've made them myself. I've taken a small computer fan and put neodymium magnets all around it and give it a spin, and there it goes, and it doesn't stop. I mean, anybody can do this. It's just a matter of harnessing the power out of it and making it work properly, and that's really all it takes. I've got a colleague in Winnipeg who built a car that runs on water. You know, it can be done.
Right, exactly. And what they do in it with this, it's like kinetic energy.
Yes. Now, the only thing with running a car on water in Winnipeg is that in the wintertime it's going to freeze.
Well, then you run it on ice cubes. What's the big deal? You know, no big deal. That's funny though. I mean, really, the way you just said that was too much. I know somebody's going to say, "Okay, but where's the straw?" But no, seriously,
cocktailmobile,
yeah, exactly.
At least we can laugh at this stuff. You know, before we got about 8 minutes left. I want to run some energy. I want to do some clearings on humanity, and this is going to benefit anybody who's listening and anybody who plays this on a podcast.
Yeah, and I'm very surprised, by the way. There is a lot of people listening, and I don't know where they're all from. I'll find that out tomorrow, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of people listening, and they must be just listening to us talk.
If that's what people want to do, I'm quite happy with that. I really love discussing the work that I do, but I do love talking about this work. I do love talking about this crazy stuff, and if that's what people want to do is hear about it, then that's why I'm here. The healing, I do it 9 hours a day, 5 days a week, and if somebody wants me to help them out a little bit on the show, that's great. If not, that's just fine too. Let's run some energies, and this is going to knock some people off their seats, okay?
All righty.
Here we go. We're going to do that clearing, the sacrificial ritual clearing. Here we go with everybody listening live and on podcast. Occult rituals false. All occult rituals false. Occult rituals false. That is gone. All sacrifices false. Sacrifice false. Very good. Moloch false. Send to ether. Moloch false. Send to ether. Very good. All voodoo, false. Voodoo, false. And Illuminati, false, send to ether. Illuminati, false, send to ether. So if you are somebody who is having some type of sacrifice done, if you've got certain health problems that don't seem to want to go away, this might jar things up a little.
I am seeing one thing, though, that they, let me see, another energy shift is coming now. So, okay, that's nice to know. That's nice to know. There's also, by the way, and if anybody wants to know what I was talking about before, and that about the ball on top of the pyramids, the link is right now in the chat box. So you can go there and you can see a link all about it.
Let's do this one. Within everyone listening live and on podcast, the adversary, false, take it to ether. The adversary, false, take it to ether. Adversary, false, take it to ether. Okay, done. Let's do this one. Now, one of the scenarios with GMO foods is what it does is it knocks out protons and electrons out of the molecules in our bodies. It starts to change the molecular structure of our bodies. So let's do this. Protons, electrons, atoms, true. Protons, electrons, atoms, true. So it's going to put everything back together the way it's supposed to be. Protons, electrons, atoms, true. And entire molecules, true. Molecules, true. Very nice.
Yeah, we got one says they just felt very tired.
Perfect. That's a good sign that something left their body. So this is going to do something. If you're listening, it's going to do something. If you're listening to this, you might want to stop what you're doing and just take a little time out, because it could be a little strong, but it's something that needs to happen. If you want to get to that point of ascension, if you want to get to that point of enlightenment, if you want to be part of it all, these clearings are necessary in order for this to happen. And the clearings are going to happen when the energies shift. But if you haven't done the pre-clearings, it's going to be like getting smacked in the back of the head with a 2x4. And it's going to be very, very difficult for you. So when we do these clearings and when the transition happens, it's going to be a nice, easy transition.
We hope.
We hope. And that's the best scenario that I can come up with. And from what I've seen and worked with people, from what I've witnessed, is everything that I'm saying does have some validity. And of course, I could be completely wrong, but I think we're on the right track with it. And it's going to be a beautiful thing that happens. And some people are going to experience it. Some people aren't, because they're just not ready for it, or they're just so unawakened and stuck in their little 3D world that it's just not going to happen. That's the way it is. This has been another crazy adventure.
Unbelievable.
Quantum View. I am Chris Kehler.
Thank you very much, Chris. There you go.